Hello, my name is Corbin Norwood, and this is my Music 1107 Midterm Project. For this project, I will be covering Hotter Than That by Louis Armstrong and Uncle Pen by Bill Monroe, two pretty, very influential artists of their time. Okay. So, first, I'll be focusing on Hotter Than That by Louis Armstrong. The piece was recorded in 1927 in Chicago by Louis Armstrong and his Hot Five and Hot Seven groups, who were bands that he took with him when he moved from New Orleans to Chicago. And this happened after the closing of the Storyville in New Orleans, which was like the red light district in New Orleans, and a lot of other big names in jazz left New Orleans at the time to go to Chicago, New York, and Los Angeles. And Louis Armstrong, of course, went to Chicago in the 1920s, where he brought the classic New Orleans style of jazz and scat singing, and also different changes to improvisations that he brought to the world of jazz. Um, features so the song features a signature improvisational style of jazz with Louis leading on a trumpet accompanied by a trombone, clarinet, piano, banjo, and guitar. The piece also features scat singing, which happens in the midpoint of the song. Okay. Slide. Okay. So the piece shows the revolutionary techniques that Louis Armstrong popularized throughout jazz. He created the possibility for jazz improvisations to last longer than the 2 bar break, which was common before he really started going out on his own with his improvisational style. He also introduced the scat singing, which is like where an artist is singing, but the words aren't necessarily like English. Like it's not like a structured sentence. It's more creating. It's more making your voice into a literal instrument, and you're just playing it. The piece creates a perfect scene for one to dance, which would definitely be happening in the red light district of New Orleans in the 1920s, which was when this song was created. It creates an air of whimsy and fun and the unpredictable nature of the music while continuing to uphold the rhythm, making a perfect dance song. It is also interesting the effect Armstrong has had on the world of jazz, which he definitely has, even without words. He is able to convey it back and forth. That is not only impressive through the instruments, of course, but also entertaining to listen to. Yeah, definitely. So now focus on Uncle Pen by Bill Monroe. The song by Bill Monroe was written in 1950 in Nashville, Tennessee. The song was an important piece of the rise of the bluegrass as a genre. The time period also significant, 1950s, that's after World War II. So as far as like feel for like what was going on in the world and especially in America during the time. And you could also make the argument that after like a difficult time like a world war, the Americans would be sort of turning to a more traditional sort of values and whatnot, and that can be seen through bluegrass music, which takes that traditional style of Appalachian uh, playing with music and brings it more to the world stage and sort of adapts it to that stage while retaining some of its traditional styles. So other bluegrass songs like Uncle Pen allow for the traditional music of the Appalachian to be brought to the world stage. The song also features differences in instrumentation compared to Hotter Than That. The piano, which is used in Hotter Than That, is used to keep the melody, but in Uncle Pen, a fiddle is used, and it's used at a much more like fast pace, and because the rhythm is far different. And performed by Bill Monroe, who he is singing with a guitar accompanied by a fiddle and a double bass. The piece features Bill Monroe's high pitched singing voice, and the fast paced fiddle playing to accompany it all. Bill Monroe was a pioneer of bluegrass style of music. He blended the Appalachian style with its fiddle and banjo and mandolin and elements of blues with his band, the Bluegrass Boys, which you can definitely see how much of a pioneer he was since the genre is named after this band. The genre itself is innovative in a nature in the way that it takes the instruments that were common during the time and creates this new style of bluegrass, which is just a blending of different styles. The song also, like Hotter Than That, creates this dance atmosphere, which is was the goal of bluegrass music, is to adapt the traditional style to more popular like style of music, you know. So the fast-paced rhythm of the fiddle and the way Bill Monroe sings, it creates a perfect atmosphere for people to dance to. Similarities between the two pieces. Both were recorded in the 20th century, one in the early 1900s, one in the mid 1900s, and both were written by two prominent Southern musicians in their specific genres, where Louis Armstrong being from New Orleans and Bill Monroe being from Kentucky. In both cases, music from their specific region was made more accessible to the rest of the country by these two individuals and the movements that they spearheaded. Bluegrass brought the Appalachian style of music, whereas jazz brought the New Orleans style of jazz. Or both pieces use the call and response techniques. Hotter than that uses instruments to create this back and forth, the call and response, whereas Uncle Pen uses the fiddle and to use as a call and response. So it creates a division in between in the song. So there's yeah, and both pieces were written by pioneers of their individual genres, which I said they definitely spearheaded their two um, movements. And both pieces blended elements from other genres into one. Whereas, like bluegrass, you got blues, you have the Appalachian style, and jazz, you have blues, you have just different styles of music blended. And both songs are perfect to dance to. And yeah, and here's my work site.